superficie.
No. It becomes too wide. El ancho es mucho. Con 4. Y con 3 sirve más o menos.
¿Y cuánto es el ancho de 3 pisos?
See, it's a very interesting question that you have, and I have covered it in see, there is no how I can say a perfect answer to your problem. But in the following slides, I have tried to cover this point: why 3 tiers and why not 4 tiers.
La siguiente es para aclararle.
कितना टाइम ले रही हो? It's on the same slide. That doesn't get affected. Here you can see the 6-inch gap. Okay, it's important for the ventilation, and also you can see that if from here the bird is going to have the dropping, it's not going to go into this cage. From here it's going to dropping, it's not going into this cage.
Okay, la distancia son 6 pulgadas, corresponde que como 15 centímetros, ¿no?
Sí,
15 centímetros, y que puede ver que no, acá no hay posibilidad que caiga la gallina.
Also, like you talked about, this length, okay, we'll explain to you why it cannot go into 4, and this one will be good enough.
Y la distancia, bueno, ya van a hablar de esto. La distancia.
See, now the basic question why automation is not possible on a national or conventional cage, and why is it possible on a European design. It all comes down to the height adjustable legs. See, we are talking about 100 meters, 120 meters, 150 meter long houses. It is practically not possible for even the best civil engineering company to give you a floor which is absolutely in one level. You are going to have a few centimeters up and few centimeters down in this long area. So very normal for you to go to a conventional cage and see that the cage is not in a straight line but a little up and down. And this is why it is not possible to do automation. So like the European models, in this GE Royal cage, what we have given you is we have given you a height adjustable leg. So basically which allows you during installation, even if the floor is not particularly good, to maintain the height and maintain a straight line.
Okay, uno de los desarrollos más importantes es la pata ajustable. Dice que prácticamente es imposible asegurarse que en 100 metros tenga usted una superficie totalmente plana. Entonces, para automatizar la jaula, con la recolección de huevo, con la recolección o con la alimentación, debe estar totalmente nivelada. Entonces, este sistema que viene en cada pata, en cada soporte, le permite ajustar la altura y eliminar, digamos, estos pequeños desniveles que tengan en el piso.
The other basic advantage of our structure is our legs. We are using a special design which is not just a C-bend like most of the other manufacturers. If you have European cages anyone is using, you will see that the legs are only a C-bend. What we have done instead is we have given you a rib design which instead of 3 bends having 5 bends, which basically gives you about 30% extra strength.
Que uno de los desarrollos también es en cada, ¿cómo se llama? Cercha de soporte. Cada soporte de estos, cada tipo de exacto mire, es doblado así, y ellos lo llaman como costilla, y no lo doblan, digamos, como una C, sino que le hacen este tipo de doblado que le da una resistencia extra, ¿sí? como si fuera embonado, eso. Entonces habla aquí, bueno, en la calidad de material.
And of course, this is also another problem in some of the A-type cages, that when you join those two, these cross arms, basically which are between the two units or the two sections, is where a lot of manure gets accumulated. And again, manure, you don't want manure and steel to be in contact with a long time, it causes rusting. So in our design, we have a unique A-type anti-accural design, what we call it, cross arm, so on which this manure accumulation does not happen.
Okay, como en este lado, otro de los problemas en las jaulas normales o convencionales es que en el cruce se acumula la gallinazo, entonces que con el tiempo pues obviamente termina oxidando. Ellos han hecho un sistema de cruce allá. Please show the gyro area.
Anti-lateral design.
Si ven que es un sistema como
It's like an
doblado,
A shape.
que es, sí, o sea, es la forma curva. Entonces esto evita que se acumule la gallinaza en este cruce de soporte.
Now this is a very unique feature in our cages. What we have is we call it the footrest system. See, the footrest is why very important is you have to understand the natural tendency of a bird. For a bird, if you keep a bird on the floor here, she is not going to, for example, if this is a surrounding for a bird, she is not going to give an egg here. She is probably going to a corner somewhere in the darkest area, as you see on the floor, in the nest basically. She always wants to go and give the egg in the nest. Now what happens in a cage, you have no dark or any separate nesting area. So what we have tried to do is we have tried to create a dark or a shadowy area in the front 3 or 4 front 5 centimeters of the cage. So you will actually see, later I'll show the video in this, that the birds actually turn around and give the egg in the front part of our cage, which is absolutely a trample free, a manual free zone, and the eggs also travel for a very less distance.
Este es un diseño, yo lo llamo como descansapiés. Eso crea una zona oscura, que ellos mencionan que el ave en su naturaleza ya trata de colocar en una zona oscura, poner los huevos. Entonces ellos han creado este descansapiés que le llaman, que es ahí está un poco más oscuro, y él le va a mostrar en un video cómo la gallina se voltea y pone el huevo en esta zona. Y además esta es una zona limpia, entonces el huevo va a estar más cerca de la zona de recolección y va a tender a ensuciarse menos, debido a este, digamos, a este diseño de descansapiés o que da una zona de oscuridad.
Este el diseño, esta ahora usted puede ver en el tema de Design Europe or Euro Rich Cage, which you can probably see now. El diseño, el tipo in este is already present in that, and we have borrowed it from the Euro Rich Cage.
Debido a las jaulas europeas están usando este diseño.
Enriched cage is not you saw in Atlanta.
Yeah.
The enriched cage which they want to use for Europe. See, this is a design from there.
Diseño europeo.
See, basically now the main point comes, again there are two types of cages that I have seen here, even in this area. Some you have with the 46 centimeter depth, but I have also seen cages with 40 and 36 centimeters. So this is particularly true for such cages. This 46 centimeter is the minimum depth that we recommend. It is not recommended to have cages which are less than 46 centimeters. The reason for that basically being that you don't want the birds just to less than 46 centimeters. The birds, you can actually see, they just move around in just one direction. There is no area for the bird to move around. 46 is the minimum recommended by most of the breeding companies for the birds to go behind and come back.
Okay, bueno, la mayoría de jaulas, digamos, él ha visto que están por debajo de 40 centímetros de ancho. Ellos recomiendan mínimo 46 centímetros para que le permita al ave no solamente girar, sino también como dar un paso hacia atrás. ¿Sí?
See, basically what happens, another thing that the advantages of having a deep cage, especially in the GE Royal, what that allows us to do is to give the nipples at the back of the cage and feeding in the front of the cage. Unlike this, the water channel in the feeder here or the nipples in the front and feed here. So what we do is the feeding area and the drinking area is completely separated. Biggest advantage, of course, the water does not fall in the feed, there is no contamination, fungal growth, that is one issue. And of course, the second issue is, it is more of a behavioral issue. In any group, you will always have a dominant personality and you will always have a weak personality. Same thing that you observed in a cage. Now what happens is, if the bird is eating and the nipple is provided at the same location, what we have always observed is the strong of the group, the strongest bird in the group will always sit and eat more and drink, and eat more and drink. And the weaker bird will always not get the same opportunity or the same chance to drink or eat at the same time. So what this does, having the nipples at the back, what that basically gives you an advantage for is, you know how it is, I mean, you know, with the birds, the feeding is not like us. They don't chew the food. They eat, they store it in the crop, they drink water, and then they swallow it. and the bird, the crop size, it doesn't allow the bird to eat for more than 2 to 3 minutes without water. So when they know the water is at the back, after 2 to 3 minutes, even the dominant bird has to go at the back and then to drink water, which gives the weaker bird a chance to go and eat.
Está largo esa pregunta. Bueno, está diciendo, empecemos. En las jaulas convencionales el nipple, usualmente el nipple y el comedero están en el mismo sitio, lo que ocasiona que se moje la comida y pueda haber crecimiento de hongos y se contamina la comida. En la Geo Royal ellos han diseñado, o el diseño es que el comedero y el bebedero están aparte. ¿Qué pasa cuando son muy pequeñas las jaulas o está ubicado el bebedero en la misma posición del comedero? Dice que en todas las especies siempre hay aves dominantes, entonces lo que está diciendo es el ave dominante se va a ubicar en el comedero, va a comenzar a comer, va a comenzar a tomar, va a comenzar a comer y las otras van a estar ahí, obviamente no van a tener el mismo acceso a la comida o a la bebida. Otro punto es que ese es un punto, y el otro punto es que el ave no es como nosotros, digamos que nosotros comemos y necesariamente lo necesitamos tomar. Ella necesita comer, acumular en el buche y luego tomar y dice que por más, cuando usted tiene unos 46 centímetros, por más que el ave dominante quiera, ella va a comer 3 o 4 minutos y se va a cansar, y entonces se va a retirar y va a permitir a las otras alimentarse.
The result of this, el huevo es chico para el ave que es débil, and the dominant egg the egg will be bigger. So you will get sizes which are various. Small eggs, big eggs, different type of eggs. When the rotation is good, you will get similar size of eggs.
Because of uniform size of the birds.
Because of the uniform.
Ese es otro punto que pues, menciona. Entonces, si hay aves que comen más, obviamente los huevos van a ser más grandes y las aves más débiles van a tener huevos más pequeños. Entonces la uniformidad no va a ser la misma.
Of course, the other thing that we have seen here is the vertical cages. Often we have seen the opening of the cage is very small, so especially during the induction and removal of the birds, not only the birds get injuries on their wings, but also the farm laborers always have cuts on their hands. So what we have instead is the sliding doors with 100% opener.
Okay, el diseño de puertas dice las jaulas convencionales se abre hacia arriba, es un diseño pequeño que puede lastimar las alas de las aves y tanto al operario al introducir las aves. Ellos diseñan una puerta corrediza que se abre totalmente y obviamente pues facilita el manejo y el acceso.
Now coming back to the point which I touched very briefly to begin with was our aluminium alloy feed turf. What we have seen in the market is either you have a plastic feeder or you have a GI feeder. The problem with GI, of course, is however good the GI is, because of the feed additives, the saliva of the bird, it always rusts, and it's a big expense to replace them after 5 to 6 years. And with the plastic, again it becomes hard, it deforms, again the life is about 5 years. So instead of that, what we have given you is we have given you a special aluminium alloy feed turf, which is actually there as a sample which we will show you later on with the lifetime warranty.
Okay, otro punto importante es el sistema comedero, la canal del comedero. La canal del comedero dice que hay dos tipos, que es la arriba, que es galvanizada, y la de abajo, que es plástica. La de arriba dice que con mucho problema con el tiempo se terminan oxidando pues debido a la saliva del animal, y que por más que resista debe estar resistiendo entre 5 a 6 años el galvanizado. Y la de abajo, que es plástica, el problema de las plásticas es mantener una uniformidad, que se vea pareja con la canal del comedero, que es muy difícil de lograr. Entonces ellos han diseñado un aluminio, es la única, es the only cage that's coming with aluminum
In this type, yes, we are the only ones.
en el tipo tipo A, es la única que presenta canal de aluminio en ese modelo. Él tiene una muestra, ya la van a ver.
Sí, que es con acero, el primero, que el gente que puede poner el pie y revise el aves en tercer piso. Con el aluminio, nosotros tiene una aluminum bag on which the trolley runs, so the people can put their legs on it.
That is in the edge framing. This it is not on the feed trough, but on the cage.
On the cage. So you can step on it, and also it will not rust. Aluminium you cannot step. So this is the advantage of it.
Ah, bueno, sí.
Aluminium will bend if you step. So we have a step there.
Ah, ok, dice que este aluminio es suave, o sea, no se puede pisar, pero se acuerda que ya tiene el riel donde usted sí puede pisar, entonces no va a tener problema de, no necesita pisar el aluminio para subirse.
Now this is a slide which I like to talk about for a little while because it's something which is very unique to our cage. It's called the feed regulatory boot. What we do is very simple. The feeding system that we have, or we call it the AccuLevel feeding system, is again designed by inputs from farmers much like you. The reason for that was very simple. When we went into the market, we were told that a broiler bird, you give a broiler or a breeder or parent anything, and the parent bird eats. The problem with the layer bird is not a very picky, very choosy, a very poor eater. Yeah. So what happens is, what we have seen is, especially if there is excess feeding and there is mesh feed, the layer birds, you can see, they actually go for the grains. They will just take out the grains and leave all the mesh behind. And you put in so much effort into formulation of feed, and if the birds don't really eat everything, is a waste of your time.
Va a empezar a hablar del sistema de alimentación. Dice que uno de los grandes problemas es lograr una uniformidad en la cantidad de alimento. Porque digamos hay muchos tipos de aves que especialmente cuando se da la harina que seleccionan. Entonces digamos que ustedes habla que uno se esfuerza haciendo la mezcla, el balanceo de la nutrición y las aves van a estar siempre seleccionando. Sí, van a estar picando y buscando, digamos, el pellet, el granito de...
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically what we have done in the feeding system is, first of all, the feed dispensing boot works only in one direction when the feed is going, and when it is coming back, you often, I don't know whether you do it, but I have seen a lot of farms that layer birds need to be tricked into thinking is new feed. When it's new feed, they eat. When old feed, they don't eat. So what happens a lot of times in farms, there's a person with a hand, he will move along the feed trough, it's called raking. And once the raking is done, the birds think that it's new feed. They start eating. I don't know, is it done here?
Yeah. Lo que dice, bueno, una de las ventajas es que ellos solo alimentan en un sentido, o sea, cuando arranca el carro, solo alimenta en este sentido. Dice que cuando regresa no lo hace. Dice que él ha visto en muchos sitios que una vez regresa el carro, va alguien detrás empujando el alimento, como nivelando el alimento, y eso hace creer a las aves que están como que volvió a haber alimento y pican aún más, comen más.
Yeah. And what we have given you, what this regulatory boot is, that we have given you apparatus with which you can control the level of feed as one level from first box to the last box. You have absolutely uniform level of feed, and you can control how much feed you want to give and go as low as 10 to 20 grams in a day.
Como había mencionado, que la pata es ajustable, entonces cuando uno logra la precisión, cuando logra hacer preciso el nivel, puede llegar a esto es ajustable, ¿no? O sea, se ajusta en altura, dando una cantidad tan baja como de 10 a 20 gramos por ave en cada suministro, en cada desplazamiento del carro.
And with a simple push of button and this kind of controls, it's very easy for you to do multiple feeding program, which can go up to 4 or 5 feedings a day, which is always, as you know, instead of giving it 2 times, it's always better to give it 4 to 5 times. What that is going to do, if you can do this with this system, is that you are going to have a clean feed trough. All the feed is going to be consumed after each and every feeding. So you are not going to have issues of fungal and toxicity problems due to layering of feed. Sometimes there is old layer, then new. You are not going to have that problem, and you are going to make sure that the complete formulation is consumed by the bird.
Okay, entonces cuando se puede alimentar tan poquito, con esa posibilidad de alimentar tan poco, entonces se puede hacer hasta 4 a 5 veces de alimentación por día. Eso nos va a asegurar que va a mantener limpias las canales, va a mantener limpio, y al mantener limpias las canales no va a haber problema con alimento que se esté descomponiendo o dando problemas de toxina.
See, the whole concept is first out, first out. That is the whole concept that we are talking about. What happens is, the feature in this one is even if there is some, let's say 5 or 6 grams leftover feed, what is going to happen is when the feed regulatory boot goes in, there's a raking system. So the old feed is first taken into the boot, the new feed is coming from here and is mixed here together. So what you get is a new level of feed, is not feed, new feed over the old feed, but is the mixing of the old feed with the new feed and new layer of feed.
Ok, tiene un sistema para que si ha quedado alimento, entonces va mezclando el alimento anterior con el alimento nuevo. Sí, sí, claro. Sí, quedó claro esa parte, sí, va mezclando el alimento que haya quedado.
Sí, él mezcla el feed anterior y el feed nuevo. Y él tiene mismo el nivel del feed en the first box hasta el último.
Y la cantidad de alimento es la misma en todas las jaulas.
And all this I said, there is no electronics, it is all idiot-proof, simple system.
Y eso lo hacen mecánicamente, no electrónicamente.
Sí, esa es la palabra que él usó, llama idiot proof. En India es
A prueba de tontos.
Idiomático.
Exacto.
Of course, automatic egg collection is possible, which is not possible in the conventional cages. And this is mainly because of the height adjustable legs that you saw a few slides before.
Ok, este sistema interesante es la automatización del sistema de colección de huevos en este tipo de jaula.
This is a very common design in India, as you see here. I saw also in your farm, the high-rise houses, about 2.5-3 meters you go above, and then you make a 14-meter wide house for four rows.
Aquí estamos viendo cuál es lo convencional en la India, es este tipo de jaula, de galpón. Miren, son 4 filas de 3 pisos.
Fabio actually saw a house with 5 rows when we
Yeah.
come to India. This is generally 3 meters, and this might be, let's say, 2.5. Enough for the bobcat to go.
Okay, you can back on the slide. Yo quiero hacerles énfasis, este es algo muy interesante que personalmente he visto, es lograr una precisión para que pueda haber un sistema de recolección segura, es complicado. Entre, digamos, el mejor diseño de jaula que ellos logren, se puede uno asegurar que sea un sistema confiable, porque no va a estar reventando la banda, que digamos personalmente hemos tenido problemas con estas instalaciones de esa alineación. Ellos aseguran que gracias a su alineación es un sistema bastante confiable. Please go to the next. Mire, sí, la altura de ahí entonces
3
es
meters.
3 metros desde el piso y hacia abajo,
Is enough for a bobcat.
que sea suficiente para un bobcat. O sea, como uno, ¿qué? 80, por ahí, 80.
See, now we spoke about the Royal Plus, but as I had said that not every market, not every region has the same solution. So I personally don't like the A-type cages because they are neither here, neither there. They don't really offer an advantage. But there are some locations where the Royal Plus is not as suitable as what we have the Ultima or the X-frame cages. So at Gartec we basically understand this, and even in India, if you go to the northern part of India, especially the capital of New Delhi, we have summer temperatures, and this is not 1 day or 2 days. This is a temperature for almost 2 months is 45 degrees Celsius, and for 2 months is 0 to 1 degree Celsius. So it's a very cold and a very hot at the same time.
Okay, ellos, a pesar que su modelo G Royal, digamos, que le ha hecho más fuerza, ellos, maybe tell some different, ellos están ubicados en Pune. Pune es una ciudad que está, digamos, está por encima como a nivel de Centroamérica, ¿sí? Con respecto al Ecuador, a la línea del Ecuador. Entonces ellos ¿por qué desarrollan la G Royal? Porque ellos están ubicados en la zona. Pero hay climas, como por ejemplo él menciona Delhi, Nueva Delhi está en la parte más arriba donde sí hay temperaturas hasta de 0 grados centígrados. Entonces no solo se han limitado a desarrollar la G Royal, sino ellos tienen la Ultima 4, que es una jaula tipo H, que es para, digamos, para ese tipo de climas que son más severos.
Yeah. So basically we have the Ultima, which is the X-frame cage, is very very similar of course to what you have seen in Europe. There are, if you go to Atlanta, if you have gone to Atlanta or any other show in Hanover, you will see that so many companies having the same cage. This is also like a very very similar cage, but there are some differences that we have made, which I would like to show you. The main one, of course, is the feed trough with the lifetime guarantee. The main reason why in an H frame they use the GI feed trough is for a person to climb the cage like a ladder, because we are talking about 4, 5, 6, 7 tiers, yeah, like this. But what he said was correct in this particular cage is on aluminium you can't really climb. So what we have done is, as you see here, the person with the aluminium feeder is also climbing, because what we do is we use aluminium where the feed is touching the feed trough, and above that we put a GI cap.
Okay, les voy a mostrar lo que está diciendo es en la jaula tipo H que ellos tienen es idéntica, o la pueden ver, es de características similares a las que pueden ver en Atlanta, los que han ido al show, es similar. La ventaja de ellos es que ellos ofrecen una canal en aluminio garantizada de por vida, o sea que no se oxida. Y
So basically this is the feed trough and this is where it fits.
entonces van a ver ahí, para que se puedan parar en ese tipo de jaula H, para que la persona se pueda parar, ellos colocan este aditamento en acero para que se puedan parar. Los va a pasar.
Y también usted puede, you can see that this is not type C. This has got 5
Leg is also
legs, and therefore it has more strength.
Como ven, pues es doblada y en
This
tipo
is what
C.
the next slide is, the special rib profile of the leg. So this is the rib profile that we're talking about. The same cap, the same leg of course.
O sea que en la jaula tipo H se pueden parar gracias a que ellos le instalan ese
So it gives you 30% extra strength.
ese borde.
Now that is basically what we do separately in a H frame than a European. But what we also do is we are the worldwide market leaders for the broiler breeder patties.
Ok, ellos actualmente son líderes en la India en el mercado. ¿La India y otros países, no? Ok, pero en la parte de reproductoras, de levante de reproductoras en jaula.
In India, of course, 100% of breeders are in cages. 100%. There are no breeders on the floor.
100% de las reproductoras en India son en jaula, las levantan en jaula.
And in these systems, for example, in India, in the last 5 years, we have done more than 2.5 million only in India, in breeders.
En India tienen 2.5 millones de reproductoras en jaulas, de ellos que ayudan por supuesto.
Cuando él habla de reproductora, ¿es pesada o liviana?
La reproductora de la liviana, de
¿Operador comercial?
Sí, de programa comercial.
Breeder layer or commercial?
Both, but of course it's more breeder broiler because they are more. Breeder layers are of course very
Sí,
few.
que tiene más que ver con reproductora pesada que...
So here I was talking about the broiler breeders, but yeah, we have done layers. Yes.
O sea, cría y levante.
Sí, hacen cría y...
¿Hasta cuántas semanas?
How many weeks the breeders can be there?
For how much time can the breeder stay?
Same like a layer, the pullet cages from 0 to 18 and the layer cages from 18 to 30.
De
How
ser,
much time?
Same 72 weeks, 80 weeks.
Yes.
To culling basically.
Hay dos tipos, uno para recreas de breeder y otra es para adultos hasta 72 semanas en India por medio.
It depends on the farmer, so up to culling.
Up to cull, till you kill.
pero hasta 14 semanas en el levante.
Debe haber algún sistema especial para control de comida.
These two you can get that.
Sí, tienen el acufit. Por eso es que, se verá que como ellos pueden dar tan poquita
We have a
cantidad.
different feeding system for breeders. In that what happens is you can actually set, you want 51 grams and it actually goes in front of the box and gives exactly 51 grams.
Dice que usted simplemente va al panel y le programa 15 gramos, por ejemplo. Entonces, él le va a alimentar los 15 gramos.
No continuous, but 1, 2, 3.
Okay. O sea, sería, digamos, para nosotros
Pues ahí-
poder controlar el alimento de una manera.
Sí, puede ser interesante.
Sí.
This is a typical conversion that has happened in India over the years. We used to have breeders on the floor in maybe a 10-11 meter wide house and typically about 6,500 breeders. The same ones we can put in about 5 rows of cages and can increase the capacity to by almost 80% to around 11,500.
Ok, dice que ahí muestra un galpón convencional relevante que es de 10 metros de ancho y caben 6.382 reproductores aproximadamente, si es el piso. Cuando se colocan ya en baterías, en aulas, la capacidad sube a 11.388. ¿Okay? Y en 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 filas. O sea, se incrementa en un 78.4% la capacidad de almacenamiento en el mismo galpón.
This is one of the largest examples of one of the largest breeder houses in the world, not just in India. And this is one of our biggest customers with almost 750,000 breeders. And all his houses are, this is just to show what we have done, is about 22 meters wide, 11 rows and 25,000 fairings.
Quiero mostrarles digamos que es un super galpón en la India. ¿Es en India?
Yeah. Yes, yes.
Es en India, es uno de los clientes de ellos que tiene 750.000 reproductoras y hizo 11 filas en un galpón de 21,9 metros, casi 22 metros de ancho.
See, basically concluding this somewhat long presentation that we have had, in the end what I would like to say is selecting an appropriate cage is very, very important for farmers. I think it is one of the most important decisions that you make, because unlike feed or medicines, is not something which you can discontinue after one flock or 1 month or 1 week. If you buy a system, it's heavy investment, and that heavy investment is like a marriage, you know. Once you get into it, you have to, it has to last you a lifetime, at least 10 years I would say. Otherwise, it's a big problem. And let us basically observe that when you should go for the Royal Plus and when you should go for Ultima in the last 2 slides.
Es muy importante escoger, seleccionar muy bien, porque cuando no es como simplemente como un lote que pasó el lote y ya. Cuando uno compra una jaula es como casarse, es una inversión a muy largo plazo. Entonces hay que hacer la selección correcta.
Yeah. Now, when you should go for the Ultima or the X-frame cage this is actually a partial answer to your question about the 3 tiers and the 4 tiers. See, I personally I advocate you either go for the pyramidal cage or you go for the H-frame cage. This A-frame cage, as you see why it happened, was it only happened because technology was not there. It is a very intermediate cage between this and this. Yeah? So if you really want to go for 4 rows, my recommendation is 4 tiers. My recommendation is why not the Ultima? Why not then increase your capacity? Yeah. Now, why the Ultima is very simple. When you have very high land cost and very strict breeding regulations, very expensive labor, not available, but when the labor is very expensive, extreme climate with very cold and or very hot summers, and extremely big farm sizes, with the need to compulsory you need to put at least 50,000 or more birds in each and every galpon that you make, then I would say that Ultima is the right solution for you.
Okay, entonces dice cómo hace la selección. Está diciendo que si él le recomendaría que si quiere pasar a 4 pisos, mejor se vaya por una tipo H. Entonces está dando unos digamos, cuando yo decido cuándo irme a tipo H o a tipo A. Entonces si usted tiene una tierra muy costosa, o sus regulaciones son muy estrictas, por ejemplo que usted no puede contaminar, entonces le convendría irse a una tipo H porque controlaría el ambiente. Segundo punto sería, su mano de obra es súper cara. No, en la región la gente me sale súper costosa, entonces bueno, selecciona el tipo H. También cuando sus climas son extremos, ¿no? Si usted va a tener un clima muy frío, obviamente no va a poder abrir las cortinas, entonces va a mantenerse en ventilación. Pues váyase a una tipo H y maximice la cantidad de aves que va a poder meter por galpón. Y también ya en granjas muy grandes, porque granjas que tengan más de 50.000 aves por galpón. Él recomendaría, bueno, si usted está tan grande, pues obviamente su capacidad económica es mayor y ya puede irse a sistemas de tipo H de 4 pisos o más.
Tipo A no es opción ahora. This is what we are saying, that if you want to go 4 floors, es mejor para Ultima.
Just go for 2 rows or 3 rows like what we saw in many places here.
Yes. Con 3 filas o 2 filas, pero con tipo H, que tiene el tecnología para el bandas, tiene tecnología para to take out the manure. Y on the other side, if you don't have the restriction to go for 4 and you have liberal land laws and things like that, in the next slide, it's better to go for a G Royal rather than to go for a type A. Not a type A, G Royal. If you want to go 4 floors, better to go for Ultima.
See, the Royal Plus, now when we should go for the Royal Plus is again very simple. When the lower land cost and lenient building regulations are there, it's not very strict how you build a building, you can, undeveloped infrastructure as we saw before, the same infrastructure problems that we face, unreliable power supply, tropical, subtropical or even temperate climates with mild winters and mild summers. We don't go less than 6-7 degrees Celsius, or we don't go more than 33-34 degrees Celsius. Why not? Maybe even 38 degrees Celsius like in India. Availability of labor at affordable rates. I know it's every day it's becoming more and more expensive, but still as long as they are available at affordable rates, why not? You can at least employ some labor. And when there is, this is a very, very important point coming to why GE Royal, is the restriction on high capital investment. The moment we talk about H-frame cages, the investment really goes up. Per bird investment almost, I have seen, goes to $6, $7, $8 also per bird. So when there is a restriction on this very high capital investment, then this is a very good option which allows you the same automation but at a much lower cost.
Okay, entonces ahora para decidir invertir en G Royal, que es un tipo, sería, digamos, que sus costos el costo de la tierra sea económico y las regulaciones no sean tan tan fuertes, porque es que ahora está molestando mucho con lo de amoníaco y todo eso. Entonces, si está en un sitio alejado donde no tiene problemas, bueno. La infraestructura de la granja, o sea, la parte eléctrica de pronto no sea tan segura, o la forma de llegar, ¿sí? O sea, si sus condiciones no son tan óptimas. Si el clima es moderado, ¿no? Digamos, en el caso de nosotros, ¿no? Que tenemos, digamos, un clima prácticamente entre 30 y 35.